Anybody else? All right.
I was going to ask a question. I know that there are some, I think we're called rescinding laws that they try to do, and I think in South Dakota there was a committee that passed one. Is there a chance that something like that might happen here in the state if the resolution is passed?
Well, one of the things about this process is states can pass a resolution, they can always rescind it. And in fact, Janet De La Rosa, who is the leader in the House against us, she's spoken against it every year. My representative, she has written a bill, House resolution, that I don't know if it's been filed yet, but I think it has because I've seen it in print, asking that we rescind every convention of states resolution that is passed in Arkansas, which goes back to 1901. I don't even know what these are for, because all the ones that have passed, I think the latest one was in 78 or something like that. And you can go online and look through the history of bills, but it only goes back to like 1988. So I don't even know what these were for, and I don't know if she does either. But she wants to rescind every single convention of states resolution that's ever been passed in Arkansas. I have no doubt that she's still in office, will continue to work. If we pass today, they're not going to sit down and go away.
Randy, that's the reason we got to stay involved.
That's the reason we have to
no matter
stay
what the
involved.
results are today.
Yesterday, she and another lady named John L. Fulmer, who is our state national committee woman, she is a wonderful woman. She's a strong conservative, but she's connected with the John Birch Society, and the John Birch Society opposes this. They brought in to the caucus a speaker by the name of Robert Brown.
I had breakfast with him yesterday.
You did?
Well, I was at a breakfast where he was.
Well, I shook his hand yesterday because I took in some things that Marcus Richmond, our majority leader, wanted me to deliver from Rob Nadelson, who is an expert on this. And he happened to be standing there with John L. and another lady I know, so I shook his hand and talked about the weather. But they're trying everything they can to defeat this. Now, just this morning, one of the legislators came up to me and he said, I don't know what the vote will be. He said, I think you're going to pass it. He said, I've been here every year, which y'all have been here. You have never been more organized. He said, you know how many letters and emails I've gotten from people in my district about this? And I said, no, how many? He said, 480 something. And I said, is that people for and against? He said, no, that's just the ones in support of it. And he said, I might have gotten, last time, I might have gotten 20, you know. So that's what it takes, folks. Partly just to cut through the fog. Like I say, when they're up here, they're going 15 directions at once. And just getting attention is hard. And you need to start early.
Just so you all know, the founder of the John Birch Society believed in Article 5. He wrote about it. It's published. And they deny all that. Larry McDonald, the congressman from Georgia who was killed when the Korean airliner was shot down by the Russians, who was the president of the John Birch Society, had introduced the Liberty Amendments into the congressional record. All right? So when you hear all this, you have to ask, what happened to the virtue of your founding and the principles upon which you were founded? Why have you changed all of it? Have you changed because you're always right? Or have you changed because this is a way to build the John Birch Society rather than, this doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing? And so they'll admit that in private. They'll never say it in public. And you can go to some of our material and it'll show you the Larry McDonald's introduction into the congressional record of the Liberty Amendments as president of the John Birch Society. So, you know, we're dealing with untruth here, not truth.
Well, you can look at their personal convention type statements, and you would have difficulty not thinking that was the convention of states.
Yeah.
And yet, after all that time, they are still so opposed to it, and they want to stick with, you know, with we can do this. But they've been doing it for over 100 years, and they've accomplished nothing.
Well, I do believe they're steeped in fear. I think they really are fearful, and or they couldn't stick with it as hard as they have.
Well, here's the thing people ought to be afraid of. You ought to be afraid of not fixing the federal government.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if we don't, we've only got about 10 years, and it'll be gone.
We're going to have another $13 trillion in debt in another 10 years. And you're going to have a bigger and bigger government. So the point is the contrast couldn't be greater today with
Yep.
all the stuff that's coming from the socialism left.
Oh, yeah.
And if we want to save our country, then Americans got to stand up. And
Yep.
I'm preaching to the choir here, but you know, one night we had a meeting here when the first time I came, Randy, and we had commitments from getting 10 people to write letters to these legislators. It obviously, some of it happened, but you need to go out and get 10 people in your neighbor, the people that you know, that you go to church with, and get them engaged in this. Because that's the way, this is our government. It's
Right.
not their government. It's the people's government. And it's no longer under our control. And it's time for us to get it back.